Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, welcome again to our reading and listening class. And right now we are going to talk about the next lesson, which is about antonyms. So we are still dealing with enriching our vocabulary so that we will have less problems when understanding a written text or a spoken text. Okay, so what is actually antonyms? I'm sure everybody knows what antonym is. Okay, so antonyms is a word that means opposite of another word. Antonym can also appear in a phrase. Okay, and the root words for the word antonym are anti means against or opposite, and onym means name. So antonym is a word that has an opposite meaning. For example, here in the box we see the word narrow, which means sempit. Yeah, it has some antonyms such as wide, broad, and open. Yeah, open. Okay, and then the word hard. Okay, the word hard. It has some antonyms such as soft, supple, and limp. Okay. And then the word strong. Strong has the opposite meaning from the word weak, fragile, and shaky. So these are a few examples of antonyms. Why we learn antonym, or why antonym is important for us? Because when you are reading, you may come across words you do not recognize, that you don't recognize or you know the meaning. Okay, and then sometimes an author will use an antonym for a word. Okay, or in reading questions there is sometimes a question related to antonym. An antonym can help you understand the meaning of an unknown word. Okay, so this is or these are the reasons why we need to learn about antonyms. The use of antonym first. Okay, it can define the meanings of a given word. When we know an antonym, we can know the meaning of a given word. It enables us to express economically the opposite of a particular thought, often for the sake of contrast. Okay, so to use a word more economically, we can use antonym. Yeah. To put contrast in the word that we are using. And then antonym can also be used to form an antithesis to achieve emphasis by putting contrasting ideas together. Okay, so to emphasize or to menekankan, okay, the different ideas, or to contrast a meaning of a word. So that's the use of antonym. Okay, but shortly, when we know a lot of antonyms, our vocabulary will be increased. Okay, so that's a more practical reason for learning about antonym. And then now we are going to learn about three categories of antonyms. So there are three categories of antonyms actually. Okay, the first one is graded antonyms. Okay, graded antonyms, here we see the word grade. Okay, when it is a grade, it means there are levels, right? So it deals with levels of meanings of the words. Like if something is not good, it may still not be bad. So there are things in between good and bad. There are still space, okay, between good and bad. Or there is a scale. Okay, besides good and bad, there can be average, and then fair, excellent, terrible, poor, or satisfactory, and so on. So this is called graded because there is a grading. Okay, there is a level of meaning. Okay, for example, here the word big and small, hot and cold, intelligent and stupid. Yeah, when something is not big, it is not always small, because it can be rather big, pretty big, quite big, and so on. Okay, and also when something is hard, it doesn't always mean that it is cold because there is something in between. We can use, for example, warm. So there is a level: hot, warm, cold. Okay, and then intelligent and stupid, because something or someone which is not intelligent doesn't mean that he or she is stupid. So there is something that comes in between intelligent and stupid, right? So this is called graded antonyms. There is a level, there is a grading. Okay, there is a space between the top and the down. Okay, that's the first. And now the second category is complementary antonyms. Okay, complementary antonym has a relationship where there is no middle ground. So it is different from graded antonyms. Yeah, in graded antonyms there is a middle ground, but in complementary antonyms there is no middle ground. There are only two possibilities, either one or the other. Yeah. For example, true and false, yes and no, dead and alive, day and night. So those are the examples of complementary antonyms. When something is not true, it is false. When it is not a yes, it is a no. When it is not dead, it is alive. When it is not day, it is night. Okay, so that's the synonyms that is called complementary antonyms. There is no middle ground. Okay, only this or this. Okay, that's the second category. And now the third. The third is relational antonyms. Actually, this antonym is considered as a subcategory of complementary antonym. Yeah, so actually this antonym is under the complementary antonym. The word comes as a relational pair that must exist together. Okay, jadi ada hubungan ya. Okay, for example, left and right. Disebut ada left karena ada right. Win and lose. Ada yang menang karena ada yang kalah. Okay, buy and sell. Okay, on and off. Husband and wife. Prey and predator. Ya, ada mangsa. Okay, karena ada yang memangsa. Okay, ada husband karena ada sebutan wife di situ. Okay, so that's the relational antonyms. So relational antonyms are words, okay, or antonyms that have relations. Yeah, okay, left and right, win and lose, buy and sell, on and off, and so on. Okay, so they must exist together. Now look at the following examples. Yeah, sorry. Okay, here the word rich and poor is graded, right? Yeah, because between rich and poor there is someone which comes in between. Not very rich, not very poor, medium. Okay. Yeah. And then what about teacher and student? Yeah, teacher and student are relational antonyms. Yeah, because people call teacher because there are students, okay, or because there is student, there is also a teacher. Okay, so these words come because of relations. And then what about hot and cold? Yeah, hot and cold is graded because when between hot and cold, we can also use the word warm. That means hangat. Yeah, between hot and cold. Okay. And then what about fire and water? Yeah, it is complementary. Okay, it is just like true and false. Okay, yes or no, there is fire because there is water. Okay, and then old and new is also complementary. Okay, when something is not old, it is new. When something it is not new, it is old. And what about heavy and light? Heavy and light is graded, right? Because between heavy and light there are some levels, right? Maybe not very heavy, not very heavy, not very light, and so on. Okay, so there is a level between those two words. And then the next, parent and child. Yeah, parent and child, as we know, it is a relational antonym because these words come as a result of relations. There is a parent because there is a child. Okay, there is a child because there is a parent. Okay. Yeah. And the next, About prefix. Antonyms can also be formed by adding a prefix, ya. Okay, prefix means imbuhan di awal kata, ya. For example, the word tolerant, ya. We can put the word intolerant to form an antonym. So tolerant means tolerance, and then intolerant means not tolerant. So they become antonym. And then the second, expensive. Expensive, yeah, we can use the prefix in, which means not expensive. Expensive, inexpensive. Okay. Responsible, we can put the prefix ir, okay, to form a negative meaning, which is the antonym of the word responsible. So responsible, the antonym is irresponsible. Possible, the antonym is impossible. Friendly, okay, the antonym is unfriendly. Honest, the antonym is dishonest. So we can use some prefix to form an antonymous word. So we can use in, ir, im, an, and dish. Okay, can you find other examples? Yes, I'm sure you can. Okay, the next, different contexts bring different antonyms. Okay, remember, we have to also think about the context, because the context of a sentence or a phrase can result in the use of different antonyms, although the word is the same. For example, an old man, okay, if we want to form the antonym, it becomes a young man. Old man, the opposite is a young man. But we cannot use young in the context of a house. Okay, so when we say an old house, we cannot say a young house, but we have to use different word. We have to use a modern house or a new house. So although some words means the same, they must be used differently according to the context. See the context, right? An old house, the antonym or the opposite is a modern house or a new house, not a young house. Okay, although the opposite of old is young, right? The next also brings the context in the phrase. A tall building. A tall building, the opposite phrase is a low building. But when we talk about a man, a tall man, we cannot use, or we cannot say a low man. We have to use a short man, okay? Because the context is different, right? A building and a man, they are different contexts, so they should use different words, which means the same, right? And now the next examples. Fresh bread. Fresh bread, the opposite is stale bread. Okay, but we want but if we want to talk about air, okay, we can say fresh air, but we cannot say stale air. Okay, we have to use stuffy air, ya. Udara yang pengap, ya, fresh air, stuffy air. But when we talk about bread, fresh bread, the opposite is not stuffy bread, but stale bread. Stale means, ya, basi, okay, yeah. And then the next, fresh flour, yeah, fresh flour. The opposite meaning is not stuffy flour or stale flour, but we have to use faded flour. So fresh flour has an opposite meaning with faded flour. And then what about look? Yeah, we can say fresh look, but if you want to tell the opposite, we cannot say faded look or stuffy look or stale look, but we should say tired look. Okay, fresh look, the opposite is tired look. Alright, so in short, although some words have the same meaning, yeah, they must be used carefully because we have to see the context of the sentences. Yeah, so don't just use words that have opposite meaning, but we also have to think about the context. Is it suitable to be used or not? Okay, yeah. All right, everybody, I think this is all for today's lesson. Thank you very much for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.